Hello, and welcome to the critical reflection of my ACE Media Studies Foundation Portfolio Project Final, which is called One Shot. This short film or movie introduction is about how two young girls are going about a normal day and endure the struggle of their soccer team being kicked off their practice fields due to a lack of funding. This story is told through dialogue and an upbeat use of music and lighting, and the feeling of lightheartedness, which is met with a plot twist at the end when the rising action begins. The entire film is from third-person perspective, and techniques are used to make the viewer feel as though they are standing right next to the actors. The main research focuses and films we used to find conventions were the movies She's the Man, Bend It Like Beckham, and Dodgeball, which all have a general focus of sports, females in soccer, and being faced with obstacles and overcoming them, or underdog themes. A convention that we saw used throughout films we researched and that is incorporated in our film was upbeat montages with bright colors and high-key lighting. During these clips, the focus is on the actions because as each clip in the montage is played, meaning continues to be built. The picture displayed is pulled from the opening montage scene of the movie Dodgeball. The picture displayed was taken from the movie She's the Man and shows the same use of conventions. What is showing now is how we used this convention in the montage at the beginning of our short film. Bright colors, high-key lighting, and the use of a montage can be seen here and in this part of our short film. I felt that the use of this convention really showed the upbeat, bright, happy setting and feel we were trying to create as a build-up to the plot twist. This convention helped us build the meaning that everything was going right and normal for these two soccer-playing girls. The use of this convention also allowed the audience to see the world through a third-person point of view that followed the two girls around through their morning and always showed what they were doing. It also allowed new elements to be introduced to the viewer just as they were introduced to the characters in the film. With our research films, which were She's the Man, Bend It Like Beckham, and Dodgeball, each one showed different scenes with high-key lighting, bright colors, and montages, and in turn ours showed a morning routine and soccer practice with these aspects incorporated. Another convention we saw being used and followed and used was the addition of upbeat music. In the beginning game scene of Bend It Like Beckham, music is used to emphasize the excitement of the game. This allows the audience to really feel the excitement and happiness that the characters feel with multiple senses that include hearing rather than just visual engagement, which is the only sense typically engaged in film. We used conventions by incorporating music into our short film on two separate occasions. Aside from Bend It Like Beckham, during the film Dodgeball in the opening gym montage scene when introducing the Globo Gym, upbeat instrumental music is played in the background to create the meaning of a comedic, lighthearted environment. We followed this convention to create a similar feeling during the soccer practice scene group. The last big convention that we saw being used and followed was keeping the beginning credits restricted to only the scenes in the beginning montage. The first film we saw this being used in during our research was Napoleon Dynamite. Our beginning credits created meaning in a similar way to Napoleon Dynamite's because both focused more on actions to introduce the idea of the movie rather than showing characters' facial features. The movie Happy Gilmore used this convention in a similar way because they also included a montage of short clips in the background of the beginning credits. We used this convention in a similar way to Happy Gilmore to create meaning by introducing the show and introducing the cast and crew simultaneously. For our short film, following this convention meant only having the beginning credit text be visible during our beginning duo morning routine montage. This is an example of how we used and followed conventions we identified during research in our film. One way that we opposed conventions in our film was that we didn't ever change the speed of our clips. We kept the clips normal speed because they conveyed to the audience how normal and average the girls' lives and soccer practice was supposed to be until it wasn't. The other films we researched used the convention of speeding up and slowing down certain clips to emphasize importance, but we went against conventions to maintain our movie's realistic feel. The issue that is addressed in our movie is sexual discrimination in sports. More specifically, our short film touches on ways girls' sports are treated as if they are less valuable or important than boys' sports, even if the sport is exactly the same, such as soccer, which happens in real life. A broader social group that is addressed in our short film is underfunded or financially struggling sports teams. An example of this that was publicized on social media is shown. One example of how this theme is represented in our film is that all of the characters that are on the soccer team are young girls, with the exception of the coach. Another way this theme shone through in our movie was through the financial problems and lack of funding that was provided to the girls' soccer team. To take this scene even further, it was a male that made this decision to kick the girls off the field and ruin their practice. One Shot engages the audience's emotions because it is an underdog story and therefore tugs at the viewer's heartstrings. One Shot would originally be released in theaters locally, with a specific focus on urban areas with sports programs. We would do this because themes of less fortunate sports teams are represented in our film. The first release would take place on February 3rd because it is Women in Sports Day and women in sports are very prevalent in our movie. After One Shot is released in early February, it would then be released to theaters nationwide on the 1st of March. This date is special because it marks the beginning of National Women's Month, which connects to themes represented in our film. After these two widespread theater premieres and releases, One Shot would be released onto the streaming service Disney Plus, with the target being about a year later, again on February 3rd. This streaming service release would be dependent on how successful One Shot was in theaters. The Disney-owned streaming service Hulu would also be a good place to release One Shot for streaming, but a release for paying members only would be preferable for profit reasons. The technology used to film One Shot was an iPhone 12. This camera allowed us to film a lot of storage worth of high-quality video that had a realistic feel. The software that was used to edit One Shot was iMovie on a MacBook Pro. With this technology, we were able to trim clips, stabilize shaky videos, add voiceovers to certain scenes, add sound effects or scores to certain scenes, and add text for the beginning credits and the title. All research was done on YouTube or Hulu. One of the biggest ways I feel that my production skills improved on an individual level was that I learned how to correct basic mistakes. For example, I learned that all clips that are to be edited in iMovie should be filmed horizontally. Another basic correction I learned is how to turn down or even completely mute the background noise of a clip in iMovie. Lastly, I feel that my overall editing skills greatly improved. This is mostly due to the guiding videos that were posted that were specific to iMovie. That brings me to the end of the One Shot critical reflection done by myself, Caitlin Galvez, and my partner, Haley Guzik. I hope you liked our movie.